So we're going to talk about adding polynomials next. And before we talk about adding polynomials, we need to talk about how to do so. And when you're adding or subtracting polynomials, we have to combine like terms. And like terms means terms that are similar. So we can put constants together. We can put our variables together. But it has to be the exact same. So this has to be a carbon copy. So we know we can do 3 plus 2. That gives us 5. We know we can do x plus x. That gives us 2x. We can do x squared plus 3x squared. Again, because our variables are the same. So remember that would just be 4x. And how we get that is because there's a secret 1 in front of all of those numbers. And 1 plus 3 gives me 4x squared. So let's review. I feel like we're pretty good with constants. Let's review these last two a little bit before we move on. So if we had 1x plus 9x, this is going to give us something x. And this would be 1 plus 9. Which gives us 10x. And it would be the same thing if we had a variable raised to a power. So we could do 3x squared plus 10x squared, or we could change it. Let's actually change it to subtraction because I haven't done any subtraction yet. So let's do 10x squared minus 3x squared. That'll be something x squared, and that something is going to be 10 minus 3. Which gives us 7x squared. Now notice all of my variables have been the exact same. I did x plus x. I did x squared and x squared and x squared, meaning I cannot do 1x plus 2x squared. That does not work because of the power. We need to remember that. When we start combining, or when we start adding polynomials together, there's two different ways we can do that. We can add horizontally, or we could put them up and add vertically. So let's talk about adding horizontally first. So just like it's written, I need to go through and find anything that I can add together. I notice this is p squared and this is p squared. So I can put those together and I can't put anything else together. Since this is a plus sign in between the two polynomials, I don't really have to do much work for this one. I can erase my parentheses. And now I can just combine my like terms. We have p squared and p squared, so we'll have 5 plus 2 p squared, which gives me 7p squared. And the rest of it will all drop down. The last thing we need to do is make sure that we put it in order of exponents. So this would actually be first, negative 3p to the third, and then our p squared, and then minus 3. Let's go ahead and do another one. So like I said, it's going to be the same process. We need to combine our like terms. So I'm going to highlight everything that's similar. This one is n to the third and n to the third. And we also have 2 and 4 that we can put together because they're constant. So let's go ahead, since this is a plus sign, I can get rid of my parentheses. So I would have 4 plus 2n to the third plus 5n to the third plus 2. Notice all I did was just delete those parentheses. I'm going to go ahead and re-highlight my like terms, the terms that are similar. I used blue. Make sure you also remember to take that sign that is in front. So this is +2 or +2, and this is +5 or +5. So now we can combine our like terms. We're going to have 2 plus 5 n to the third. And then we're also going to have, which I'm going to sneak right through this problem, 4 plus 2. 2 plus 5 is going to give me 7 n to the third. And 4 plus 2 will give us 6. And since both of them are positive, we know we're going to add them together. So we'll have 7 n to the third plus 6. Now let's go ahead and do it the other way this time. So let's flip it. For some of you, this way might be a lot easier. For some of you, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. First thing I want to do is rewrite this in standard form. So it's going to be -4k to the fourth, because that's my biggest exponent. I'm going to put a placeholder for 0k to the third. And then I can put my k squared. And then I can put another placeholder for plain k. And then I can put plus 14. The second one is already in order, so all I need to do is put those placeholders in. So we're going to have minus 3k to the fourth. And then we also have minus 14k squared. And then we also have minus 8. And then I'll go ahead and put those placeholders in. The reason we use placeholders is that because sometimes it's not going to work out nicely where our placeholders cancel out. So 0k and 0k, we don't even need these right now. Maybe we'll need them on the next one. Now, all I need to do is put my equal bar and add them together. So what is -4 plus -3, k to the fourth? And then we have plus, let's change that to make sure we remember it's a 4. 3 plus -14, k squared. And then we'll have plus 14 plus -8. -4 and -3, when I add them together, my number, it stays negative, but it gets bigger, so it'll be -7 k to the fourth. 3 minus 14, this is going to be a negative number, and it's going to get smaller. So we're going to have -11 k squared. And 14 minus 8 gives me 6, I believe. And last step is we can actually delete this. And now it is going to be 7k to the fourth minus 11k squared plus 6. So this is a secondary way we could do it. We could line it up horizontally instead of vertically, or vertically instead of horizontally. So let's do one more. This one has a lot of stuff, which is again why we use placeholders. So let's start with v squared. 9v squared. None of them have plain v, so we can technically skip that. Let's go on to v times u. So there is a v times u. So I'm going to take this one, uv. And now let's go on to u squared. No, there is a u squared, so I need to do that one as well. 0 u squared. And there's also a plain u, so we need to write that one down as well. So we'll have plus -8 u. Let's move on to our next one. So this one has -2 uv. And then we have negative, I'm trying to color coordinate these, negative 2u squared. And this one also has v squared, which I believe I put in this color. We're going to make it black though. V squared, and that's negative 9. So this one's done, and this one's done. We just have the last one to do. And we have a v squared. This one is a minus v squared. And the next one that we have is the 4uv. So now that I've lined everything up, I'm going to put that nice little plus sign so I remember to add. Since this is 0u and this is 0u, this one is 0u squared. Those are going to be pretty easy to put together because negative 8 plus 0 is going to give me negative 8u. Second one's going to be pretty easy too. 0 plus negative 2 plus 0. And I have negative 2u squared. These last three are going to be a little bit more difficult. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in parentheses. We'll have 0 plus negative 2 plus 4 uv. And we also have negative 9 plus 1 plus negative 1 v squared. Negative 9 plus 1 minus 1. I noticed plus 1 minus 1 cancels out. So I would just be left with negative 9v squared. Negative 2 plus 4, that's the same thing as 4 minus 2, which gives me a positive 2uv. Minus 2u squared, we figured that one out, minus 8u. And technically, I did write this in the wrong order because we want our squareds up front, so we would have negative 9v squared minus 2u squared plus 2uv minus 8u. And let me change that so it looks like a v. Typically, we're not going to see that many that we have to add a lot of polynomials together, but it's good to see one. And that is how we combine our polynomials.